Speaking of batting your eyes at certain people,
Yeah.
It's a stretch,
there are two very unrealistic trade targets for the Guardians.
But it's July 24th, and we got to fill time.
And I thought with this panel, it'd be a fun topic. I know it is incredibly unrealistic that either of these two could actually end up on Cleveland at the trade deadline. I get that. I totally get that. But if Skubal and Mason Miller, an elite starting pitcher and elite reliever who are both on, for the record, Jeff Passan's possible trade targets for other teams at the deadline, if both of those two players were in play for Cleveland, Skubal the starter, Mason Miller the reliever, Jay, who would you rather the Guardians trade for, considering the price it would take? The starter in Skubal, the elite closer in Mason Miller?
Well, I think it would take more to get Miller, right?
Probably, yeah.
I think it would take more.
Yeah.
So, but if the question, and I'm not dodging the question, but I think this is maybe a better way for me anyhow to answer it. Which of the two has the bigger impact on the Guardians?
Sure.
It's Tarik Skubal. Like he can by himself put 3 games in the win column in a 7-game series. We've got an elite closer. We have him already. Now, I know it kind of makes us like 2016 when we didn't really have an elite closer. We had a good closer in Cody Allen, but we got our 8th inning guy was an elite closer. And Andrew Miller made a huge difference. And I think without Andrew Miller, we don't go to the World Series.
No chance.
I don't think we make it.
Chance.
No.
I mean, what they were doing, they were turning games into 7-inning games. And if you consider Hunter Gaddis as elite, and I don't, I think he's in the very good category.
He's definitely not elite.
He's not elite.
Yeah.
But
he hasn't even been very good this year.
No, he's had moments. And I think
he's
it all
been
goes
very
back to
good
his
before
injury.
this year.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah.
But I think the injuries probably had something to do with that. But, in reality, Tarik Skubal has not been elite. If you just forget the name on the back of the jersey and you just look at his numbers, he's been good, but he hasn't been great. And so I don't even know that he would have that huge impact on the Guardians because he's only going to see the field if in a playoff series, he could see it, maybe every 3rd or 4th game. And so I don't know which one of those makes us a World Series, an American League favorite. But I do think that Skubal would give us the better chance.
Jason.
Yeah, I would go with Skubal, and that was my pie in the sky earlier in the season. And I don't think the Tigers are going to trade him.
You don't?
I wouldn't if I were them. I would take a run at it. I would take a shot at it because they're
playing great baseball.
What we said earlier, it's wide open. The American League's wide open, and I've been advocating for a reliever for them to add a top line reliever like a Mason Miller. But Skubal to me is still a difference maker. He is a one-of-one category. He's the jewel of the trade deadline, and obviously I don't think they're going to make a realistic move for either one of them. But Skubal can win you a series by himself in a 7-game series if he pitches 2 or even 3 if you want to go short rest.
Yeah.
But he can. I mean, he shut down the Guardians last year in the wild card series. So not that that's hard to do. But he's in that level by himself where when you put him in front of Gavin Williams, and now Gavin Williams is your number 2 starter, and Messick starts game 3, I would put that rotation up against almost anybody in the American League.
That would be, my goodness.
Yeah.
And if they had just a little bit average hitting instead of way below average, now you've got a team that could contend for a World Series.
All right, now. Good answers. I'd love to have Tarik Skubal, but of course you guys are wrong. I'm
I knew you were gonna go
stunned
Miller.
right here. I'm stunned right here. You know who's one of one? Not Tarik Skubal. He's not the best pitcher in baseball this year.
No, last year he was that guy. He's not this year.
Okay, is he the best starter in baseball this year?
No, he's not.
Is he even in the top 5? Has he even been top 5 this year?
Not.
Mason Miller is the best relief pitcher in baseball, and it's not close.
You're right.
It's not close. Mason Miller has 78 strikeouts in 41 innings, guys. Think about that for a second.
2 per
He's
inning.
basically unhittable.
Yeah.
And he's basically been unhittable. If you have Cade Smith and Mason Miller in the playoffs, that's 3 innings for all but 1, maybe 2 games in an entire series.
Well, is it 3 innings? Wait.
Between them, you're going to get 3 innings in the playoffs in a game.
Who are you going to throw 2?
Inning and 2/3.
Inning and 2/3, inning and a third. I mean, this is the playoffs. That's what we do. The relief pitchers go. What we won't have is
But we've done that in the past to our detriment.
No, we haven't.
Yeah,
how we
sure.
done that to the detriment?
Well, last year Clase got his doors popped.
Okay, but how was Andrew Miller in 2016?
Well,
He
okay,
was
now
great.
that's
And then his career was over.
then he was done. Like we rode him like a rented mule, and when it was all over, it was all over.
You know what? That's what everybody said about Aroldis Chapman. His career wasn't over.
Now there's one of one.
Yeah.
My God,
So-
I can't believe he's still doing it at that level.
So relief pitching is where it's at. I mean, that's where it's at now. I get it. I'd obviously like to have them both. You guys completely ignored the fact that Skubal's a free agent at the end of the year.
No, that's,
and Mason Miller's got 3 years of control
Yeah.
after this year.
that's why I said to me the better question is, in a vacuum, not because obviously we're gonna have to give up a lot more to get Miller.
I don't know about a lot more. It's more, but I don't listen, you're not getting Tarik
Skubal for 2 months. You're getting Miller for 3 years.
The Cubs got Aroldis Chapman for 2 months, and they had to give up their best prospect.
And it was worth it.
And it was what I'm saying, but like you're not
But
getting
look at the Cubs lineup.
No. I hear you. I'm not saying. I'm just to your point.
Yeah.
You'll have to give up more for Miller because he's the best and he's under team control.
Yes.
You're still going to have, like with Miller, you're going to have to give up 2 of your 3 or 4 best prospects.
Yeah.
Whereas
I
Skubal,
believe
you
that.
can maybe get away with just giving up 1 of those guys.
If that were true, I would give up one of our best prospects for Skubal.
Yeah, I mean, you'd still have to give up 2 of your best prospects, but maybe not 2 of your top 3.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 of your top 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't even know. Skubal's so good and such a difference maker, and so many teams are going to want him, that I don't know that you're going to be able to give up that much less than you would for Miller. Plus, I mean, there's just so many things. You have Miller as more team control. He's got less innings on the arm, obviously. He's been absolutely – he's been no injury this year as
he's been
opposed to
tremendous.
Skubal.
He's been healthy. There is a long injury history with Miller, but he has been healthy.
Right, but he's
Not
been
this
healthy
year.
this
Yeah,
year where
yeah.
Skubal has not. So I'm not going to tell you you're crazy for saying Skubal
Yeah,
because
there's
he's
no wrong answer.
fantastic.
There's
There's
no
no
wrong
I
wrong
don't think it's
answer.
the wrong answer either.
But at least when I give up my prospects for Miller, he helps me this year and in the future too.
Right. Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's ultimately, even if I had to give up more, I just can't, like, if you have the Guardians rotation, yes, obviously if you had Skubal up top, huge difference maker. But it's still a good rotation and one of the better ones in the American League. Whereas the bullpen outside of Cade Smith to me right now is kind of shaky. But if you had
no, it is shaky.
yeah, and
It
if
is.
but if you have Cade Smith and Mason Miller, the best reliever in baseball, and another one of the top 5 or 6,
Statistically,
I
I
mean-
think Cade Smith still has more saves than anybody.
yeah,
So you're talking about the 2 of the best closers in the game.
yes,
Skubal is probably the only starter that I would say yes to over
I
Miller.
was shocked.
Yeah, I
I
agree
was
with
shocked
that.
that you
I agree
said
with that.
Skubal.
But I was also
Not shocked, but-
Also, I mean, I was on the Skubal kick in May. In
Yeah,
June
yeah.
Of if
Yeah.
they could they actually move him within the division.
The one thing about Skubal that would scare me, and I know it was an extraordinary circumstance, and hitting David Fry in the face, I think
Oh yeah,
that can lead to a lot of guys losing their wheels. But if you go back and you watch that inning, it really is remarkable how the best starting pitcher in the game came completely unglued.
he did.
I mean, he tried to remember the hike through his legs on the
Oh, yeah.
on the throw to first base.
Yep.
I didn't even recognize who that guy was in that inning, and I attribute much of that to the David Fry incident. It really, really rocked him, and that would give me pause because things happen in the playoffs. In the playoffs, and
He was sensational.
I need a
last year
guy
in the
with.
playoffs.
He was great, except for that inning. That inning was shocking. How it all came undone.